Hello, my name is Fleur, and I would love to create an inspirational video for you, hoping that it will give you some sort of encouragement, during this tough time that you're going through. Um, I lost my dad a few years ago, but it was just, it was so sudden. We never saw it coming. He was perfectly fine health-wise, nothing that we knew of. But one morning, he was talking to the neighbor, and I believe it's probably the stress of what they were talking about that probably uh, was a shock to his system. And all I could hear is my mom calling out and saying, "Fleur, call the doctor because I don't know what's happening to Dad." And I did see him sitting on the sofa, but um, he had his head tilted back, and all I could see was um, he was frothing in his mouth. Um, I just ran to the doctor and I came back. Well, when I was back with the doctor, I saw so many people in my house and all gathered around him, and my mom asked me not to go next to him, and they were trying to, um, uh, you know, get a second opinion, and it didn't make sense to me, but I understand that the doctor had declared that he had already passed away and that we should get a second opinion from a different one. Um, I can't remember whether my mom called another doctor, and when he came, the second best doctor who came did check him and said, "I'm sorry, but I can help you with giving you a death certificate." It's only then I realized what had happened. Um, my dad had a massive heart attack because of the shock that he was going through, and it happened in seconds that there was no time to save him with probably putting a tablet under his tongue, because that's what I understand would have helped. Uh, so I realized back then that my mom had suffered from pressure, and I could see her crying, and I couldn't bear to see losing both my parents at the same time. Um, I realized that I had to be the strongest person, and be an encouragement. I have a sister and a brother, but my sister lives in Canada and my brother was in a different city. So I realized that I had to be there. So I couldn't cry. I couldn't show that I was weak. And I told my mom to go to bed and lie down because it was just so shocking, what was happening. And people kept pouring into my house, bringing food, asking us what happened. And we didn't know what to say. Just that I don't know. He's not there anymore. His body was moved to the morgue, and my brother reached the next day. But I didn't allow anyone to meet my mom for the simple reason that the minute she started talking about it or explaining, she would start crying, and I knew that her pressure would rise, and I just didn't want to go to hospital as well. So I was the one that was talking to everybody, calling everybody, and I had to be strong. So I refused to cry, and I refused to, break down. A lot of people told my mom, "I couldn't believe your daughter calling and sounding so calm." But you see, I felt like I had to be the strongest person. Till date, I know my mom always calls me her strong pillar, because she always says that I was there when she needed me the most. And I believe that too. When you're going through something really difficult in your life and there's no one around and you cannot understand why it has happened or how, because the person was perfectly healthy, and in seconds the person's gone away. You've got to remember that they are no longer suffering, that they are in a better place, and most importantly, they are an angel looking out for you. I always believe that my dad is still there in spirit. He's always taking care of me. I would have loved for him to meet, my partner someday, or my kids one day, but I believe that he is up there watching over me, and he always will take care of me no matter what. So I hope that you have the strength to go through a tough time. But remember that, they are in a better place. They are always looking out for you. They are angels taking care of you. And I hope you find the strength to let go of holding on to that person, of wanting that person to be back, and letting go, and just, allowing life to continue. Getting back to normal is harder, when you see things that remind you of that person. But every time that happens, smile and tell yourself that, they're in a better place now. So that's what I did. And you'll be able to overcome the hardest part in your life. So I hope that this helps you in some way, and just know that you're not the only person who goes through, hardest situations. There are people who've been through worse. I'm just happy he never suffered, and he's in a much better place now, and he's an angel looking after for me. So yeah, I'm so glad to share this video with you, and I hope you have the strength.